It's Thursday's edition of Flamescast. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Neil. Been a hot minute. Hope all is
Thank you.
well.
Thank you. Yeah, all's good. Can't complain. I don't know if you can see here, but I just got a big sponsor for Devil State of Mind, a local brewery
Nice.
in the area. So shout out to Tom's River Brewing. So yeah, I'm doing a little bit of, you know,
Merch.
merch. Well, not, I mean, it's their merch. I didn't come up with it, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm excited about that. Other than that, yeah, just staying busy. Keep an eye on the Flames. Finally getting off of just the road woes. I mean, just finally able to win a road game. I mean, it's crazy to think how earlier this year they were able to win a lot on the road, and
Yeah.
it really just like flipped. But it was good that they were able to turn that around a little bit.
I mean, still, it's not, when you look at their road record, it's not anything
Right.
fantastic. But,
It's like looking at the Devils' like home record. It's like they're three
you
games
know
below
what,
500.
bro? I watched the highlights of that Devils game the other day with the Leafs.
Yeah,
Holy shit. Like, you pepper them. What was that? 30 some odd shots to
it
like
was
15.
38 shots. Yeah, 38.
38 shots to 15. You did everything right, but I
Yeah.
mean, then again, you got to put it past Stolarz, who was playing really well.
Yeah, I mean, Sheldon Keefe mentioned it that he's playing really well right now. I mean, he's
Yeah,
he's on a hot streak, so it's not like it was just against the Devils where he's played well. He's just been playing well of late. Yeah, it
it'll
sucks.
die. It'll die off
Yeah, and,
eventually.
and that's what I've been telling Devils fans. Like, they'll find a way to start scoring more consistently. Like, it's not like, okay, they got shut out and then only scored one in their last two games. This is the new trend. No, it's gonna die off, and they're gonna be fine. And it
Yeah,
might be tonight against LA. We'll see. Even though LA, the Kings, 6-game winning streak right now for them.
I'm a big Devils fan tonight because I was still predicting that they would kind of fall off, and all of a sudden they rattled off 6 wins in a row. So that went well.
Yeah. It's
I
again, you
hate
would
it.
think like with the goaltending that they have of Kemper and Riddick, you would think, like no, but they've both been actually playing pretty decently of late.
I
It
hate it.
sucks. It
I
really
hate
sucks. Yeah,
it.
it really sucks.
We'll get into it, but I figure we'll take a little bit of a recap here of what the hell happened on Tuesday night. I kept listen on Monday. I was like, oh yeah, they're playing the Predators on Thursday, and I got my dates all mixed up, and
No, that's fine.
they played on
It happens
Tuesday.
to all of us.
Yeah, happens to the best of us, but man, this was such a you win this game, no, you win this game, no, you win this game, back and forth affair as the Flames. I counted twice where they tied the game and then they blew the lead within like a minute or 3 minutes later within this game. But they led going into the break. Huberdeau finally gave the Flames their fourth goal in what's been since middle of October.
Yeah.
Was the last time the Flames managed to score more than 3 times, and Huberdeau gifted them with that. And defensively, they held the fort down more or less. Daniel Vladar held the fort down in the third period. Rooney blocking shots, Ball, Anderson finding ways to block shots. They were blocking everything. Vladar was making incredible saves in that third period, especially late with like a minute to go. It was just chaos in front of the net, and the Flames still find a way to escape Nashville with a big 4-3 win. And I think that this hurts Nashville now even more because they've now lost 8 straight. We'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Bringing it down a little bit and seeing some of the stats. And I was listening to they were interviewing Conroy after the first period, and he mentioned that Sunday's loss to Dallas, right? There was a big team meeting on Monday morning where they specifically talk about the penalty kill and how it was atrocious. They were like, yes, they were, or not even that, but like they were, I think they let in like, or no, sorry, they were 0 for 4 on the penalty kill, which was great for them because they didn't allow one. But he more or less was talking about that third period where it just got away from them and they weren't able to clear the zone and they weren't playing better defensively. So I think Conroy was initially just kind of like, that was something that he wanted to allude to, like coming up Tuesday night against Nashville, we need to be better in front of our goalie. We need to protect him more, whoever it is, whether it be Vladar or Wolf, but we weren't doing a good enough job in that full period of protecting him.
Right.
Message sent because they fully balled out for him in that third period. Quickly going down the list, again, I'm not sure if you caught much of the highlights here, but Calgary managed to pot one, to tie it up there halfway through the first period. Novak gives the Predators 2-1 lead. And then I kind of get into it where, Rooney ties it 4 or 5 minutes later. All of a sudden they go back up one. And then, Braden Pahal, who had a great shot on the right top of the circle, and he finds a way home on the power play again, which has all of a sudden been such a turning point for this Flames team a little bit, despite some of the losses recently. The power play's kind of gone back up a little bit. Jonathan Huberdeau now gets his 10th year. He's been potting points left, right, and center now all of a sudden, so he's been doing really well. And ultimately, that goal at the end of the second period was the game winner. So, I mentioned the block shots, and it indicates it here in the stats. 21 in total, and the majority of that came in the third period. Both teams with 2 penalties, on the night. Calgary was able to get the one, and ultimately that was the biggest difference in this game. So, again, not sure if you caught too much of it, but any kind of big takeaways for you from Tuesday's game?
I think overall you could take this game as a big learning lesson on finding different ways to win. I mean, you look at the way that they came out in that second period and they just, lit up the lamp, and then you go into the third period up a goal, and you have 2 choices a lot of the time, especially when you have a lead. You either find a way to lock it down defensively and really make it difficult on your opponent to get shots on goal and get opportunities, or you try to obviously add on to the lead. Now, I'm usually a big proponent of trying to add on to the lead and playing up instead of playing back, but nonetheless, I thought the Flames did a really, really good job of helping out Vladar, just overall just making it really frustrating in that third period for Nashville. Yeah, they had a lot of shot attempts, but not a lot of them got to the net, and that was the important thing. A lot of block shots, as you mentioned, guys like Kevin Rooney, Ball making some big blocks. I honestly felt in all phases of the game, this was Kevin Rooney's best game like I have seen
By
in a
far.
long time. You had a goal, you had an assist. I think he had 5 blocks on his own?
Something like that.
He had a handful of blocks. He was pretty solid in the faceoff dot. I thought overall there was not a single aspect of his game that I could sit there and say I would have liked it to be better. He really, really was like a man on a mission in this game, and that was really great to see. And obviously, you look at Nazem Kadri getting a goal, Huberdeau getting the game winner. And like I said, it's just finding different ways to win. And that's what's so important for a team trying to obviously get out of the schneid of struggling on the road, but also still trying to keep pace here as they try to make a push for maybe a potential playoff spot. Just it's so important throughout the year to have a process of like how you find different ways to get the job done. It could be scoring a ton. It could be in a low scoring affair. It could be a game like this where you just have to lock it down defensively against the Predators team that has a lot of offensive talent. Marchessault, Forsberg, Roman Yossi, Philip Forsberg. You have all those guys. And Yossi obviously left the game with a lower body injury. And you're facing a desperate team, right? You're facing a desperate Predators team at home that is trying to avoid losing 8 in a row. And you're able to keep their frustration going and get yourselves a much-needed road win. So overall, I really like especially how that third period went of just not allowing Nashville to get too much and ultimately come away with the 2-1 win.
They were getting a lot.
Okay, but there's a difference between shot attempts and actual shots that got on goal.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at it, shot attempts, it was a lot. But as you mentioned, the majority of those block shots came in that third period.
Yeah. Another thing, too, that Conroy mentioned at first intermission, too, of that game, and then Huska alluded to it after the game as well. Kevin Ball has been sensational. Outside of Sunday was a bit of a pass because that line of Ball and Anderson, where the Ball was -5 and Anderson was -4. So they just wanted to kind of get away from that. You're going to have a bad night. That just happened to be all in the third period there on Sunday. And so, it is what it is. Sometimes you're going to get that. But he's outside of that, Ball has been nothing short of sensational for this team. And they were showing highlights of him just continuously finding ways to take the puck away, the giveaways that he's making the other teams create. Defensively, he's been kind of a bright spot for this team. Outside of Anderson and Weegar, who've both been putting up points, he's easily the best defensive player on this team. And it's such a bright spot, especially after, the whole Markstrom trade goes down where you get a first round pick out of it. He obviously goes the other way to you guys. He's been playing well this year too. And now it's kind of like you're kind of looking back on that trade thinking, man, both teams got pretty good value.
Yeah, and
Like,
I
it was a
think
pretty good trade. Like,
for sure that it's one of those moves where you sit there and you're saying both sides are getting exactly what they wanted, right? The Flames wanted to move on. Well, they didn't really want to move on from Markstrom, but they were kind of,
forced to, yes.
they're pretty much forced to their own doing.
Yeah.
But they get somebody in Kevin Ball who is still a young guy. But what was so interesting and people need to realize is that Kevin Ball was coming over to Calgary with already a ton of experience and already playoff experience, which not a lot of these young guys have
Which
on
is
this
huge.
team.
Yeah.
And he also does have some chemistry with playing with some of these guys already. And he comes into a situation where they tell him, look, you need to develop your defensive game. You need to use your body. You need to be physical. You need to block shots. You need to be active with your stick. And I think finally, and maybe it has to do with the fact that he's on a team that doesn't have as high aspirations as maybe the Devils have had the last couple of years, that he's more free to make those mistakes, but then correct them and get better and not be afraid to maybe get dropped down to a third pairing or get benched. And again, this is coming from experience watching him in New Jersey over the last couple of years. He's being free to play the way that he needs to play. And now you're starting to see those results. And it's great to see. I'm still not comfortable with number 7. That's just personally, like, I'm so used to him wearing 88, but I get it.
Sure.
But nonetheless, it's great to see that Kevin Ball is developing into that guy that I wanted the Devils to have him develop into when they first got him in the Taylor Hall trade, which, fun fact, today is the anniversary of said Taylor Hall trade that sent Kevin Ball from Arizona to New Jersey. So,
well, that's interesting. Maybe
yeah,
we'll. I mean,
that
it's funny how we're starting to see now. With the Trouba trade that happened last weekend, and then
yes.
Georgiev heads
Have
over
you
to.
have you talked about that already on here, or is that something
I did briefly on Monday. Yeah,
briefly?
I did kind of briefly touch upon it.
It makes those
Yeah,
games
I
against
think
the Ducks more interesting, doesn't it?
a little bit, but
Well, with
if you
him and
watch them,
Budis, right?
if you watched them last night, they were kind of ass against the Senators. So,
I mean, there's already reports that Trouba's going to get traded again.
I think you're right because I think what the Ducks
Just
want
traded
to
back to
do.
the Rangers.
Well, not even that. Can you fucking imagine?
That would be so funny, but it's not going to happen because that was a cap
No.
dump. But it would just be really funny if he got like bought out or something.
And I think the Ducks want to do him a service and be like, look, we know you don't deserve to be here, but
We know you don't really want to be here. Yeah.
we know that, right? But it's like, we're going to do you a service because the Ducks are in a position where they'll eat some cap, right? And then if they decide like, okay, well, we're going to get some assets now at the deadline because we ate this full, we're going to eat half of it, but we want some assets in return.
Sure.
Right. So I think that's what they're going to do and they might. Now, the question is, does Jacob Trouba have any leverage in terms of, I want to go here, 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 here?
Well, I think he still has the no trade clause.
He might.
I think he still does.
I think it still applies.
It still applies regardless of how many times he gets moved. It applies. So like the big thing is going to be with him, where would he go? I think what would be funny and also kind of makes sense from a family standpoint is if he looked to a team like the Devils or the Islanders or somebody like that, just again, spitballing, where he gets to stay fairly in the area that his wife has been working in because his wife has a residency in New York.
Yeah.
As a doctor or a nurse, I don't remember if it was a doctor or a nurse
that
she is. Or, I don't know. Like, I don't know what his thinking is at this point because now he's across the country from his family.
I don't know
even getting traded to Detroit would have been, from a location standpoint, better.
Yeah.
Than going to Anaheim.
Because I think it does set up for him to be dealt come deadline again, right? Yeah. And I know that it's.
I think they will. I think the Ducks are going to do that. I think they'll do him a service and be like you said, look, we're going to eat like most of your contract. Like, we're fine with it because we're obviously trying to get assets. We're rebuilding, blah, blah, blah. You tell us where you want to go other than the Rangers. Because the Rangers are not. I don't think the Rangers would even consider, like, if the Ducks came back and magically called and said, "Would you
No,
take?"
that relationship is broken.
No, it's done. So, like, for him, what if it's the Capitals?
Yeah, I could see that. Capitals would be interesting.
Actually, that makes a lot more sense than I originally thought. That makes a lot of sense.
It does. If it happens, I think he goes back to the East Coast because, like you mentioned, like if you think
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Why
like
wouldn't
I think Washington makes a lot of sense. I think New Jersey makes a lot of sense too.
Here's my problem with that. The problem is that we really kind of have the defensive core set.
Sure.
We're not really in the market for a defenseman, is what I'm trying to say. Like, the only young guy the Devils have is Luke Hughes, and Luke Hughes is playing well.
He
Like,
is. Absolutely.
Nemec got sent down to Utica, and that's where he's been for the last month and change.
Right.
And, like, you have, like, Colton White as your seventh defenseman who's not going to play very much. Like, if you bring in Trouba, who are you taking out of that lineup?
And what are you giving away?
Right. Like, I think Washington just makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons.
Well, it doesn't help that
Frank Toronto becomes available. I will then consider talking with.
The problem is it doesn't like the way that trade went, because the Ducks get full cap and they sent Vikinen and a third. That doesn't help him in terms of the market. It doesn't help the Ducks in terms of making a valuable trade either.
I don't get what they were trying to accomplish with this.
I don't know why. That's the thing. Like, I think it confuses me why the Ducks ate. The only reason why
they ate first round, like, let's say they got a first round pick in the deal.
Yeah.
Like, I could play ball, but I don't get it.
I think it speaks that they're going to move him at the deadline. I think that's the only reason why they did this, because they decided that, you know what, this is going to be a good opportunity to eat some cap and get some assets at the deadline.
And I think also they probably told Trouba, because this is the last thing I'll say about it, is that just come in here, try to play the best that you can, make some plays for us, help us, and help your value. Because I think if I know Trouba gets a lot of, like, Trouba's not the greatest defender. Like, in full honesty, he's not. Like,
but he's an NHL defender.
But he's an NHL defender who's physical, and especially in the playoffs, could be an option. Maybe Florida calls. I mean, that's East Coast, but that's Southeast. Maybe Florida. I don't know. Like, it's tough. It's a tough situation. I didn't think the Rangers were going to do it.
Sure.
And I will say this: I don't think they're done.
Oh, they're not done. No, God, no, they're not done. No,
I'm surprised Lavalette still has a job.
The crazy thing is that the players are going to have a field day when it comes to CBA negotiations coming up in their next meeting. That's going to be the first thing that comes up, right? Because essentially, what the no trade clause means that you aren't safe.
No,
at all, right? There's no protection, because all of a sudden they're going to threaten you down to waivers, and then see you later. We're going to ship you out wherever you feel like it. And it doesn't help. Like, you take him, for example, I get it's a business, but it's like, if she's a full-time nurse in the city of New York, it's like,
yeah, she can't just get up and move and go somewhere else.
Right. She can't do that. Right. And I get it is a business. It's $1 billion business. I get it. But it's like, there's no protection when it comes to no move clause. Now, I say all that because it made me think. When we played Nashville on Tuesday,
great win by the Flames. To by the way, to circle all this back, right?
I want to bring it back to Calgary,
because we went completely off the track. But like,
it's for a good reason though, and I wanted to talk about it because I can't remember if Jonathan Huberdeau has a no move clause. I think he does.
Oh, look.
Okay, take a peek.
Oh, no.
So I say this because they mentioned it on Barn Burner the other day. For, I think Rhett Warner was saying it, and I was kind of intrigued by it. It seems like Nashville could have some great use for a guy like Jonathan Huberdeau, because what they're finding right now is they're not finding a lot of guys who can be that setup man, right? You already have pretty goal scorers in Stamkos and Marchessault and Philip Forsberg, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of these guys, if you look in the stat department, are not guys who are creating tons and tons of assists. Probably Steven Stamkos you can throw in there. But I don't think it's crazy to suggest that down the line, because they sign these guys long term, don't forget, so they have to make this work, right? It kind of makes the conversation interesting because you have about 5 years left of Jonathan Huberdeau after this season, right?
After this year would be 5, yes.
And you have around the same
5 years at 10.5 per year.
And you have around the same as a Marchessault, as a Stamkos, and Brady Shea, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's crazy to say that they could make something work because you can go to them and say, well, clearly you guys need a playmaker, right?
Right.
We can get and two, a Flames team that would be more than happy to eat 25-30% of the cap. I don't think that's crazy to say. I think they would easily eat 25 to 30% of his cap, right? Because that's what all signs are pointing towards that, right? And there's been a lot of talks about Kadri being traded, and it's like the guy just got there for God's sakes, and he's mentioned numerous occasions that he's happy being there, right? Like he's not going to he ain't going to the Leafs. Not happening. I hated that.
Yeah, right?
I hated so much that it came up in conversations. Like, what are we talking about? I understand the metrics, but the guy has came out numerous times, even at the beginning of the season. I love it here. I have no why do you think I signed a 7-year deal here literally last year?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is also the NHL where shit can happen like this.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So, anyway, that kind of leads away from my point. Did you find out if he had a no move clause?
Yeah, he has a full no move clause.
Okay.
So that makes it even more like of an issue.
Does it?
Well, look.
Does it? Well, look what just happened to Trouba, man.
That's true. But again, I don't think the Flames are going to go down the road that the Rangers went with Trouba, where they essentially put a gun to his head and say,
why not?
Wave them. Well, why would you do that?
Why not? Craig Conroy has no ties.
I'm saying from the standpoint of, I don't know. I'm not really like at this point, considering the fact that it already happened, that we have evidence that this can be done.
Yeah.
Anything's kind of up for grabs.
So what I'm saying is Craig Conroy is not the one who signed the contract. Brad Treliving did, right? Conroy has no ties, no sense of he has a working relationship with Huberdeau.
He's a working relationship.
Right? He doesn't have any ties because he's not the one who signed pen and paper
to
this contract, right? Now that this can be done, who's to say they wouldn't do the same thing to Huberdeau down the line? If you're not living up,
that is a really good point.
It's a business. You have to make business decisions. That's what they just did with Trouba, right? So if they decide, if he has 4 or 5 years left on his deal, and if he goes on to collect 30 points this year, I think that's the problem also is that they would maybe have to do this before the new CBA negotiations kick in. And if this is something that goes into place, right?
Right.
Because I get it. Like, you know, did he earn it? Maybe, right? But you also have to live up to it. And he hasn't been doing that.
You do have to look up. You do. Yeah, you're right.
So honestly, I think feelings go out the door. You're trying to win Stanley Cups here, and he's not a guy that's going to help this team win a cup. The only time it would help for him is he needs to be paired with guys who are proven goal scorers, and there's none on this team.
Yeah,
he's the goal scorer so far.
He's the guy we're asking.
He's the guy with the most goals on this fucking team.
Yeah, yeah.
So
the one guy that could have been that is out for the year in Anthony Mantha.
Well, yeah. What do you got?
We were asking Mantha to come in and score goals, were we not?
We were, but not at the pace that we're thinking of.
I know, but I get what you're saying.
Huberdeau leads the team right now, by the way. He leads the team in assists.
Yeah. It really is fair game, because what the Rangers did was essentially open the floodgates for, Well, if you force a guy, like if you really make it a problem for the guy to have no move clause, like yeah,
And this is not a knock against Huberdeau, the person. He's a
no,
great guy. He does great things for the community, right? He's a
yeah.
great guy. But on the ice, who's to say that this isn't going to happen to a guy like him? Does Craig Conroy have the balls to pull off something like this? Look at the assets that he got.
That would certainly send a message to the Flames organization, would it not?
That you're not safe.
That you're not safe and that things will change if need be.
If anything, though, it's set with Trouba being sent. It's already sent that message, has it not?
Oh, 100%. The rest of the league is GMs and players are like shitting bricks right now.
Unless you're Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, or McKinnon, or if you want to throw McCarr in there.
Would you throw Austin Matthews in there?
And Matthews in there,
Okay.
right? Those 10 to 15 guys.
Yeah.
No one else is safe. No one. You're not, right?
Yeah. No one's safe. Yeah, no one is safe. That's why, like, signing a no move clause at this point, like moving forward, is like pointless.
It is. It is.
It's pointless because what does it matter?
Because also too, like, you could not saying they'll never do this. It'll never happen. But they could force Huberdeau to play in the AHL. They just did it with Trouba, who's making $8 million.
He's not playing in the AHL, is he? Or am I missing something?
Well, no. I'm saying they were going to force Trouba down to the AHL.
No. The Rangers were going to do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think
if they didn't comply.
Of course.
So I think that's something. That to me, like,
that's a great discussion right there. I mean, it's
well, then we're discussing about it.
Well, right? No, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're having this discussion right now, and I'm saying it's a good one. Like, it makes you think, like, it's like that classic. It's like the classic saying, right? Oh, if Wayne Gretzky can get traded, then anybody can get traded. It's fair game.
Pretty much. They were talking about Crosby maybe getting traded, but he's going to get last word on it. He'll never leave.
The only team I can see him going to, there's literally only one, and that's the Avalanche. I cannot think of another team that would do it or can do it.
Right. Other than that, did you know that the Flames made an offer for Alex Ovechkin back in 2017, 2018?
I do remember that. Yeah. Did we ever find out what the offer was?
Yeah. So I got to find it. But it was something like multiple first-round picks. At the time, I don't recall who it was.
Johnny Gaudreau?
No, I don't think he was in that conversation. I
guess more the question is how close were the Capitals actually thinking about it?
So it was So it was published by the Win column. If we look back at the time, the Flames tried to acquire Alex Ovechkin. It was at the time when the Flames got Dougie Hamilton.
Okay.
Right. So they thought they were in a position where it's like, now we can like make a move, so to speak. And this was at a time where the Capitals were unsure that they were going to re-sign him, but he was on the last year of his deal. Right.
Right.
So, and this is also at a time when Ovechkin never won a cup.
Right. This was literally right before he won his only cup. Yeah.
So here was the offer. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So it included number of first-round picks, 2017, 2018, and possibly, wasn't confirmed or not, 2019. Okay.
Three firsts.
Former fourth overall pick Sam Bennett. And the Capitals' choice of either Adam Fox, who the Flames had at the time, or Oliver Shillington.
Oh.
So, in essence, if they didn't go the Shillington route, let's just pretend that they didn't, it would have been 3, maybe more, first-round picks, Sam Bennett and Adam Fox. Which, that's a pretty good offer.
Yeah, in like hindsight, well, not even in hindsight, because, again, the Capitals would go on to win the Cup that year.
Now, mind you, we probably had a no-move clause.
Right, of course.
I think.
That would have been Something.
So, and just real quick, I want to read this to you. That was a significant offer from the Flames end and a signal that they wanted to compete sooner rather than later. It's believed that this stemmed from the Flames' ownership and their attempts to make the playoffs for a number of seasons in a row. It is not known which defenseman the Capitals would have preferred between the two choices the Flames offered. So there was an offer out there for him, and the Flames were the one to do it. How crazy is that?
That would have been something. That would have been something.
He would have never played in Calgary. Never.
No.
Never. He is Capital through and through.
Yeah, he's got to retire as a Capital.
You always, it's the same thing with like Crosby. I imagine it's the same thing with McKinnon because now he's won a cup with the Avalanche. It'll be the same thing for him. Might not be the same for Matthews.
Might not.
I don't think it is, man. If he wanted to commit to this team long term,
he would have done it
more than 4 years.
You kind of wonder, like, how many more years of like either not getting out of the first round or like not even getting close before you just
he gave time.
Yeah,
he put them on the clock. Essentially, he put them on the clock. I'm surprised he's doing it now because it's like, I mean, man, like, you know, your window is so short, right? Like, what happens if you get?
I give him another year or two, and then it's gonna be an issue.
That's what I mean. So
it all
brings it back to like, I was just gonna say, like, it brings it back to that anything's possible. And I don't know about you, but if Trouba was able to go out the door like that, who's to say it wouldn't happen in Huberdeau? Who's it's gonna say that, you know what, Huberdeau, like, it's nothing personal. This is strictly business. It's business at the end of the day. And you're not giving us value.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the problem is that the Rangers made it personal. Right. It's not like that was the thing. I think they remember they started it with just being business because they were trying to trade him to Detroit.
And
then it became personal.
Then it became personal. Think about it like this, though, and then we'll move on. How do you think millionaires get rich? They don't put themselves in debt. The people who put themselves in debt are living paycheck to paycheck.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
If the Flames are living paycheck to paycheck, quote unquote, with Huberdeau, he's putting them in debt.
He is.
So you want to become a millionaire, you got to get rid of your debt.
Yeah.
I
feel bad for Craig Conroy.
Necessary. It's sad that this guy is all of a sudden 10 goals in, or he's got 10 goals, and he's leading the team in that.
Yeah.
Good for him. Don't get me wrong.
I guess.
It's great for him these last 2 games. But because that Trouba thing happened on Saturday, I think it sent a shockwave around the NHL. You know what I mean? Like, who knows, like, you know, like, take your Devils, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if the Devils get bounced in the first round this year? And it's like the Leafs sort of thing where they just can't find a way out, right? Mm-hmm. And Jack Hughes signs a long-term deal, like 8 years, right? And he has a no-move clause. And he shits the bed.
Yeah.
It's the same for everyone.
It's the same for everybody, yeah. 100%. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. This is why I tell fans, as hard as it is for fans to do this, it is. Believe me, it is. It's hard not to get attached to certain players because of the business of it all.
Yeah.
Because the amount of people that I know that like fall in love with like certain players, even if they're not that good, the second they get moved, it's like the worst thing in the world. It's like
it'll be interesting to watch the Rangers going forward. But we'll take a break and then we'll quickly come back. We'll preview tonight's game and then we'll ship out of here. Sound good?
Sound good.
Cool. Watching our favorite NBA and NHL players is the gift that keeps on giving, and playing Pick 6 from DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NHL and NBA, is a way to take a shot at even more cash prizes. Download DraftKings Pick 6 app now and select 2 or more players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. Pick 6 is available in most states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Missouri, and more. And speaking of gifts, new Pick 6 customers play $5 and $50 is in for your Pick 6 credits guaranteed. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to bet. Play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Happy holidays from DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. And again, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-9777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Also sponsored by Game Time. I was going to say DraftKings, but nope. We're also sponsored by Game Time, believe it or not. Going to see another comedy show in the end of January. Just a little something to do. Just a little $30 little getaway, which should be nice. And yeah, I'm always excited again too to go back to a game. I hope you are too. Hopefully you've been going to games Game Time, and I'm doing the exact same thing because the game tonight in New Jersey, believe it or not, is $5 to go to. USD. USD. You want to convert it to Canadian? Great. $7. Even better.
Which I would also ask the question of why you coming all the way down for a random Devils game on it.
To go watch the Kings versus the Devils. That's friggin' why. Anyway, with Game Time picks, it helps you filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time picks allows you to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. It's all in pricing feature. It lets you toggle the feature to show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. You get the lowest price guarantee. Your Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage also allows you to have the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app now, create an account, use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account, redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
It's game time.
Damn right. Speaking of game time, it is game time tonight as the Flames begin a 5-game homestand tonight. It all starts off with a rematch of the 2004 Stanley Cup Final. Again, with Lightning coming into town. I had to mention that.
St. Louis not on the other end tonight, right?
But that's Tabarnak. We got some lineups though for tonight.
That was a goal, by the way, people. Just so you know.
I'm aware.
Watched that replay 1,000 times. That's a goal.
So, if you didn't know, Neil, and I also wasn't aware of this until literally yesterday.
Why is JT Miller trending today, Kyle?
Oh, it's because he's back after playing 10 games.
Oh, is he actually back in the? Okay,
he's back in the lineup after 10 games. He's playing tonight.
Okay, I was wondering. I think I looked bottom right corner. Why is JT Miller trending?
You know who else is back tonight? Ryan Lomberg, who was out for the last 2 games because of the birth of their third child.
And also, by the way, really quick shout out for Ryan Lomberg. He actually got inducted into the Adirondack Thunder, like top 15 greatest Adirondack Thunder players of all time, by the way.
That's pretty neat.
That's a really random thing, but like he did play for the Adirondack Thunder when they were the Flames. No,
at the time.
Flames affiliate.
Well, yeah. I think they were affiliated a long time ago. Yeah.
Long time ago. And then the Devils, I think, replaced them, the affiliation.
For sure.
I think it was what it was.
So, a little bit of changes. They had to assign Peltier and Dewar down and then bring them back up because they wanted to get the waiver time period thing all sorted out. They just wanted to reset the clock, basically, is what they wanted to do. So everybody was freaking out about it, but it was literally nothing. So other than that, Peltier not in the lineup tonight. Dewar, who's played really well recently, is going to get a chance to play with Rooney and Lomberg tonight. Something that you may not have noticed, Neil, is Kuzmenko, who sat out for those 2 games last week. He's back in the lineup again. He's still playing alongside Connor Zary and Blake Coleman. Everything else basically staying the same. Vladar is going to get another start tonight thanks to his performance there on Tuesday night against Nashville. Thanks to a good third period there. He's going to get rewarded another start. And more or less, they're going to get Wolf ready for Saturday against the Florida Panthers. So this is your lineup tonight versus Tampa Bay. Anything that sticks out to you?
I just like going back to Vladar again. Like you said, again, with Wolf going up against the Panthers, I get it. It's good to get Vladar a little bit more extra, playing time. And again, like you said, he had a really solid third period against Nashville, and I think that he earned an opportunity to go back in the net tonight against Tampa. And I mean, I would argue, honestly, I have no complaints with what I'm seeing in the lineup. I mean, I'm the type of person, Kyle, that's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. So, if you win a game or you win a couple in a row with the same lineup, just keep it. I think, we talked about this ad nauseum about it, but it's true that like the Flames don't have like a first line, second line, third line, fourth line. They just have 4 lines of whatever the hell they want to put out there. So it's
Yeah.
good. And you're seeing like if you had told me at the beginning of the year that Pospisil would be on the first line at some point this year, I'd be like that. Wow, we are really down bad, aren't we? But actually, it's been going pretty well. The Sharangovich Backlund Coronado line, I think, is the best of the four. Art, like in my opinion, just with the wave of consistency. I like obviously keeping Ball and Anderson together. There's times where I wish that Uyghur was a right side defenseman. That like there's times where no, just because I think him and Ball would do well together. But no, I really don't.
I actually think Ball's playing well with Anderson.
No, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. They are. I'm just saying, like, I would like to see that at one. But like, again,
Right.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. So
Right.
overall, um, you know, I think the only thing that I have is I would like to see Peltier in the lineup, but I mean,
Hence the comment we see below is like he better.
oh, I didn't even say Pelt's better be hurt or something because he doesn't deserve to be scratched.
And
All
I
right.
agree. Like the
Did
problem
he get a
is,
point against Nashville? Am I not? He got his first
yeah,
point of the
he
year.
did.
It was an assist.
He got a point as well too. I think against Dallas, or he scored late last week as well too. But people were saying that like his ice time hasn't been over 10 minutes at all in these last 4 or 5 starts that he's had. So he's not really getting like a fair play. You know what I mean? To like showcase it. Like if you really want to showcase it, stick him up there where Blake Coleman is, and where like I do not like the fact that he's out of the lineup tonight. But the problem is, who are you replacing? You know, like
That's the issue, right? The
that's
issue
the
is like
problem. Walker Duehr deserves to play tonight because
100%.
I think frankly he's been better than Peltier because I think he's been faster. I think he's been able to create turnovers off the rush more better. Like he's been better on the two, like just creating more pressure. He's bringing a lot more speed to this. Not to say that Peltier is not, but I just think Duehr's just been more noticeable out there the last 2 games. So the problem, I don't think it's a knock against Peltier. I just think that there's nobody that you can really replace. And I mean, they did sit like, okay, you sat Kuzmenko for 2 games, but you want to get him back out there, right?
That's true. Yep.
I think it'll look better once we get somebody out the door at the deadline, right?
Right.
Once Kuzmenko, I think all signs are probably going to be pointing towards that. If Kuzmenko can just find a way to get on a little bit of a roll here, then maybe you can get something out of it too and try and trade him to a contender, right? And maybe you get something. I don't know what it is that you'll get out of it, but maybe you can get something out of it.
I think you can, yeah. But like you said, Duehr, I think definitely does deserve to be in the lineup. And like again,
yeah, it just sucks that Peltier can't play.
Right.
Like,
well, and that's kind of it's almost like a good thing, right? That you're in this situation where somebody who I think deserves to be in the lineup is not because of like where things are. So yeah, no, solid lineup. Don't be surprised if this is going to be a defensive game plan going up against Tampa tonight. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, so Vasilevsky started versus Edmonton the other night in Edmonton. So I don't know if Vasilevsky's starting. I'm going to check really quick to see if he's starting tonight. He is confirmed. Vasilevsky will be on the other end tonight. Other than that, in terms of injuries, no Anthony Cirelli tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's day-to-day. No Eric Kernak. He's day-to-day as well. So a couple of guys that the Lightning are going to be missing tonight, but still it's a good team that is trying to find their stride a little bit. 14-10-2. Flames are 14-10-5, trying to get going here a little bit. So, so that's the line. Nothing crazy about the lineup tonight. Should be good, and it's going to be a good test now that they got 5 games at home now for the next little bit, and hopefully they can kind of capitalize off of it.
Big game tonight against Tampa. Another opportunity, against one of the best goaltenders in the league, and in Vasilevsky. And they're a little bit banged up, like you said. No Cirelli, no Chernak. Opportunity is the word I would use tonight.
I think it's a good chance for a lot of the guys who aren't playing against some of the top lines. I think it's a great chance for them tonight because I think Calgary's a little bit more deeper up on the top 12. Like if you look at the 3rd and 4th line for this team, I I think they're a little bit deeper, and I think that's going to be a good opportunity. I think it's a good opportunity for Kuzmenko tonight.
Yeah, and I think Pospisil gets the first goal tonight. This is my guess.
It's interesting. I think this trend still continues of like the young guys finding a way to score for this team, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Zari or Coronado.
Watch me like Bean, like third.
Yeah, I know.
Third pairing goal, like yeah, why not? I'll be like, well, nobody's winning the tickets tonight.
No.
If there's if somebody actually picks Bean, he scores.
It's like
they deserve a follow from us.
Exactly.
I will demand them that they get a follow because
me too.
That's
fucking
actually
wild.
Also, just some news.
Sure.
A little bit more on the serious side. The driver that obviously was involved in the tragedy of losing Johnny Gaudreau and his brother was indicted as of this morning.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know if that was brought up at any point, but just wanted to say that just because it's all over the news today.
Yeah, I did see that. I wanted to bring that up. So a grand jury has indicted Sean Higgins for multiple crimes related to the deaths of Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. List below here: second-degree recklessness, vehicular homicide, first-degree aggravated manslaughter, fourth-degree tampering with physical evidence, second-degree leaving the scene of a fatal accident. Higgins is scheduled to be arraigned on January 7th, coming up. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And then also, too, what we may have forgotten, too, which will be in the news in a few short months, will be the trial for those the 5 NHLers in that World Junior case.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, that'll be coming up.
I forgot if they gave a date for that yet.
Yeah, they said April. It's April
something.
Something. I can't remember the date.
And that's what made it so interesting that several of the guys who had a contract in the KHL, all of a sudden, they no longer did.
Bingo.
Because I think even the KHL was like, yeah, like we're not getting involved in this.
Not at all. Go away.
They signed those players before anything before anything came more clear. Now that it's clear that this is going to go to trial, yeah, this is not going to end well with people.
I didn't realize with Higgins here in the Gaudreau case that there was fourth-degree tampering with physical evidence and second-degree leaving the scene of a fatal accident.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that first one you said.
Oh, reckless vehicular homicide.
No, not that. What you just said. The leaving. No,
leaving the scene of a fatal accident. Yeah, or tampering.
Yeah, the tampering one.
Yeah, it's fourth-degree tampering with physical evidence.
I've never heard of that term in my life. Did not know. Well, there you go.
Have to look that up and see. But also, too, speaking of World Juniors, that's coming up in 2 weeks. Myself and Dylan will be doing some World Junior coverage. I'm already going to be doing one game for Team Canada. I think Dylan's going to be covering the Canadian-US game on New Year's, from what he was saying.
My goal will definitely be to try to do a couple, again, with the whole moving out of my house.
Oh, yeah.
But I will do my best to get at least one game in because I also haven't done a live watch long since October, so I feel like I need to get on that.
I know I haven't done one in a hot minute. I'm going to plan to do one.
Yeah, we have not been.
I got to do one Flames game before the break. I got to do one.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Can you believe it, man? We're almost to Christmas. We are at that point now. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready either. I'm not
ready.
Gifts, I've been so half-assing gifts.
You want to talk about gifts? I'll show you real quickly. You can't really see it, but
the box. Yeah, they're already in
boxes here. Yeah, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started with that.
I won't.
I'm not ready for that. By the way, did you see the new commercial that came out from the NHL talking about tipping?
Yes.
Yeah, that is so funny.
What's funnier was the Sharks holiday music video thing.
The Shark, that's because this is the 10-year anniversary of when they originally did it.
Yes. So they had to recreate
what I thought would have been funny if you saw Blackwood in it.
Oh, God.
Because I was like, ooh, is he going to be there? No.
Probably not. No, I would assume.
Yeah.
So. Other than that, big game Sunday night for the Seattle Seahawks. Big game coming up Sunday night. Big game tonight, too, as well, because I need the Niners to win. But season's on the line for me on Sunday, I think. It's going to be
Season
good.
hasn't been on the line for me in about a decade. So
Yeah, that's fair. You'll get there one day.
I'm actually going to the Giants Ravens game with my best friend and my
Man,
girlfriend.
the spread was -16 for the
Yeah,
Ravens.
of course it was.
Oh my god.
And it's only -16 because Tommy DeVito's playing
Oh,
this
frig.
week. So we'll see. We'll
That's
see how
gonna be
that goes.
sweet.
And it kind of stinks that like PWHL, like the season kicked off and now there's like this break for everybody until like
Nice
next
way
week.
to kick it off. Yeah.
No, really? Yeah, it's
Stupid.
interesting. I'm actually going to the home opener for the New York Sirens
Sweet.
on the 18th, so that should be fun. Looking forward to that. And yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out any of the games, highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Some up and coming broadcasters, I think, as well, that are doing these games. And they're also going to be playing a game on that rink outdoors in Toronto. I forgot where in Toronto.
Oh, in
Um,
Toronto? Really? An
yeah,
outdoor rink?
something like that. They said something like that. Yeah, because you got.
Unless they freeze BMO Field. I mean, I can't really see
Well, I don't
it.
think it's that. I think I don't even remember what it was. I don't remember exactly. I don't know if they're going to do a built-in one. I don't know.
Who
I
knows?
have no clue.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Anyway, I gotta let you go, but it was good doing this again, and hopefully we
likewise.
can do it again on Monday. Just let me know if we can, and then
Yeah, of course.
we'll recap the weekend that was. Hopefully the game goes good tonight. Panthers on Saturday. Flames will regroup again next week. But hope you have a good weekend.
You as well, my friend, and thanks everybody for tuning in this week. We appreciate it.
Cool. Talk to you all next week. Later.